What's going on YouTube? Today we are going to talk about basic static analysis. Now, this is not the first video we talk about static malware analysis. In a previous video we talked about analyzing portable executable header as part of a static analysis. And today we're going to talk about other techniques used frequently and commonly while conducting malware static analysis. Okay, so before I start, if you remember guys, we checked in a previous video, we checked the portable executable headers. If you remember, we analyzed portable executable header and we use portable executable tree to perform this. I'm going to put the video link in the description so you have a reference on that video on how to analyze portable executable headers. Today we're going to take a look at other techniques used in analyzing malware, of course, statically without opening the file. Now, the first technique we're going to use, guys, is, as you know, let's scroll down. So first we're going to analyze the strings. To analyze the strings, of course, we took this room as an example to perform the explanation. So we're going to go over the tasks, task 3, 4, 5, 6. All of these tasks have questions that are to be answered. So since we're going to talk about string search as a method of statically analyzing a malware, we're going to take the example here. Okay, so in this room we have the Flare VM attached, and as all of you know guys, we can analyze the strings of a certain malware by just running strings. So let's see here. I'm going to leave this open because we're going to need this in the upcoming tasks. Okay, so all the malware samples, let me first make this bigger. The font 72. Oh, that's too much. Let's make it 28. How about that? 28 is good. Okay, so cd desktop, cd mal. So under mal, we have malware samples 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to analyze these samples using the techniques that we're going to discuss. The first thing is strings it's executable file that's used to analyze the strings. Now, analyzing the strings is very important, guys, since analyzing strings reveals relevant information about, or that might reveal the malware behavior. So analyzing strings can reveal IPs, domains, Bitcoin addresses, function calls, imports, DLLs. All of these are tremendously important when analyzing malware to uncover its behavior. So let's run the strings on the severe sample. As you can see, we get a lot of strings. Among these strings, we get information about, as you can see, the file version. And if we scroll up, we get these. Still not yet known what are these. So since the output is so long, we can direct the output to a file. So strings 1, 2, 1, strings the text. Okay, and then we go back to the directory. We open one strings.txt, and there you go, we have all the strings. As you can see, we have got some sort of DLLs here, so you can extract the DLLs. Scrolling all the way down, as you can see here, we have some function calls, get user object information. We call these imports. So these functions are imported from the DLLs, and they are very important in analyzing the malware behavior. You could just Google the function itself and understand what it does or what's responsible for, to take a guess or take a hint, sorry, not a guess, to take a hint on the malware behavior. We saw in the previous video that these imports, the functions and the imports, when we say imports, we mean the DLLs. Functions are they are imported from DLLs by the malware or by the executable in general. We can also uncover these by using PS3 when analyzing or while analyzing the portable executable header. As you can see, we also uncover paths. So these are the information that we can uncover using strings. You can also run strings, guys, on other samples for practice purposes. Now let's go back. So the task here is on the desktop in the attached VM. There is a directory named mal with malware samples 1 to 6. Use floss. So let me go back here, guys. So floss, sometimes, if you remember in the latest video, remember that some malwares are packed. Packed means a packer has been used to obfuscate the artifacts of the malware. We talked about this. And by the way, if you're wondering how to access this file is part of the channel membership. You can access it by subscribing to the tier 2 membership. For members, you will guys find this file in the Google Drive. So as you can see here, we mentioned some indicators that the file is packed, but today is not the reserve for talking about packers. We talked about packers in the previous video. So the idea is that packers can be used to obfuscate strings. So the output we got here sometimes might not, these things might appear as gibberish or obfuscated. So in order to get around this, there is a tool that can be used to uncover the obfuscated strings. The tool has been produced or created by FireEye or Mandiant. So its name is floss. So let's see here. Yeah, obfuscated binaries. We use floss to obfuscate, to reveal them. So floss dash no strings dash no dash static dash strings and the path to the binary. So this task is asking us to run the floss on these malware samples as they are believed to use packers. So let's run them. So floss dash no dash static strings, and the first sample to be run is 2. As you can see, we have extracted 0 strings. That's fine. Good for comparison only. 5, the 5 sample. The 5 sample again doesn't contain strings, and the last one is 6. If we run this, obviously it's the only file or the only sample that contains the strings we are after. So here we're asked to find which sample contains this string, debug view.exe. So it's obviously 6, as you will see. Okay, now the next task is fingerprinting malware. Let's scroll down. I'm going to explain everything in these no worries. So we have 2 questions. Before we go to questions, guys, let's go back a bit. So we talked about analyzing strings as a technique in static malware analysis. The other technique is analyzing hashes. So basically, if you remember, guys, in a video we talked about analyzing hashes as part of doing threat intelligence. So we extract the hash of the file and then we run the hash through multiple, or we look up the hash through threat intelligence websites or malware analysis platforms like Malware Bazaar or VirusTotal. So if we run now PE Studio, okay, and let's use it against the file in question. It's file 3, the malware sample 3. So let's open the file. Okay, so as you can see, we have the MD5, SHA, SH256. Now obviously, guys, MD5 and SHA1 are not secure anymore due to hash collisions or the possibility or probability of hash collisions. That's why to more securely produce a hash, security researchers and community members most often use SHA256. Now, regardless of which one has been used, we can rely on any one of these guys hashes to look up the malware in malware analysis websites. For example, Malware Bazaar. So Malware Bazaar here, we can copy MD5 and we can go to browse Yes, I am not a robot. And here we can type MD5, and we can uncover similar files that have the same hash. So I've got nothing. Let's make sure the syntax is correct. Okay, cool. Let's look with SHA1. Or as you can see, it's better to look up with SHA256. So SHA256, and we search if there are any binaries or malwares similar to this file. So I've got no data. Okay, so it means the malware has not uploaded or has not been uploaded to this site before. So to be able to use the hashes effectively to uncover the file, what we're going to do, we're going to use the imp hash. The imp hash can also be used to uncover the family of this file. So if there are files that have the same, or malwares that have the same imp hash, we're going to uncover the family of this file, despite the fact that it hasn't been uploaded, as you can see here. So let's put the syntax and see if there are imp hash here. So as you can see, we can look up with imp hash. So imp hash and we have got nothing. Let's see the question again. In the samples located at desktop mal directory in attached VM, which of the samples had the same imp hash as file 3? Alright, so as you can see, guys, this is not relevant to the questions raised here, but it is actually good to know, guys, that to analyze the MD5 or to analyze the hash of a malware or a binary, you've got to run the MD5, SHA1 or SHA256 in Malware Wizard or similar sites, or you've got to look up the imp hash. This will reveal if there are other files that are similar in behavior or have the same malware family. You can also use VirusTotal. Let's look up VirusTotal also. I suspect that the file has been uploaded to VirusTotal, but we're going to do that anyway. So let's use MD5 hash search hash. No match is found. Okay, it means that the file has not been uploaded yet here. We can upload the file for analysis, but we're not going to break the creator work by uploading the file to VirusTotal. We're going to leave everything as is. It's not requested, guys, to upload the file to VirusTotal, so let's stick to the questions. Which of the samples has the same imp hash as file 3? This is the imp hash of file 3. Okay, just take a note of this one, copy it, and then run PEstudio on the other samples. You will see that the sample 1 has the same imp hash as PEstudio. That's the answer. Using the SSDeep utility, what's the percentage match of the above mentioned files? Now, SSDeep utility is a tool to compare the files. So basically it produces hashes of the files we want to compare, and then it produces a match rate. This is effective to compare files or compare malwares. So we can run this tool as well to reveal the similarity between the malware samples here. So ssdeep -l -r-d -e to specify directory, -l for recursive, r for recursive, and then we specify the directory. This is the directory here. Syntax of the command is incorrect. I don't think I have it here, so let's. Oh, so without the extension. The syntax of the command is incorrect. I think we have to navigate to the directory containing the tool. So cd ssdeep, exactly, and then we run the command one more time. The syntax of the command is incorrect. -r. What have we got wrong in here? So -d for the directory, -r for recursive. What's the problem? Okay. So the problem was with the arrow here. As you can see, after running the tool, it compared the files, right? As you can see, it produced 93% similarity between the sample 1 and sample 3. And that's your answer to this question. So far we have covered analyzing strings and hashes. Now next we're going to cover analyzing the signatures. So the signatures here, also cover the signatures in this part, can be analyzed using Yara rules, which we covered in 2 videos in the past. VirusTotal. As you know, VirusTotal runs the sample against multiple antivirus products, which actually compare the signature of the file against its database, and we can use Kappa to uncover the capabilities of the file, relying or depending on its signature. So that's what we're going to do in this task. So we're going to analyze the sample 4 using Kappa, and that's what I did here to save your time, because Kappa takes some time to run. So as you can see here, guys, Kappa and then the name of the file will run a complete check and analysis on the file, which will give us, as you can see here, depending on the signature of the file, it gives us the capabilities of the file that it has. As you can see, these are the capabilities. In addition to the capabilities, it gives you the hits these capabilities had against the MITRE, ADT, and CK tactic and techniques. We talked about this when we talked about analyzing portable executable headers. The idea is that based on the behavior and the capabilities of the file, we match that to the corresponding ADT and CK tactic and technique to help us in threat intelligence. So here we got the relevant tactics and we got relevant techniques, as you can see, and here, as you can see, guys, we have got all of the capabilities listed in the file. For example, as you can see here, execute anti-VM instructions, 86 matches. It means 86 hits against the signatures. So we got 2 signature hits, 2 matches. For example, set file attributes. Delete file, we have got no signature hits, for example. So these capabilities give us rough idea about the behavior of the file or the malware. So the question here is, how many matches for anti-VM execution techniques were identified? As you can see, we covered that. If we go up, we have got 86 matches, 86 signature matches against anti-VM instruction evasion. Does the sample have capability to suspend or resume a thread? Answer with yes or no. Again, we have to look at the capabilities here, and shortly enough we can see that it has the capability of creating, resuming, and suspending threads. What MBC behavior? By the way, MBC stands for, as you can see, Malware Behavior Catalog. It's also a framework similar to ADT and CK. Is observed against the MBC objective anti-static analysis. So we have to take a look at the objectives here mentioned in the MBC anti-static analysis. As you can see, we have disassembler evasion, argument obfuscation. That's the technique, or that's the behavior. So it also again has, in addition to antivirus evasion, it has disassembler evasion. It means that if you try to disassemble the malware to reverse engineer it, you're gonna have some difficulties. At what address is the function that has the capability to check hey HTTP status code? So I have to find out the address in memory where the function check hey HTTP status code is called. To do that, we have to run Kappa in verbose mode. To run Kappa in verbose mode, we use -vv again on the sample, and we direct the output to a file because the output will be overwhelming to be displayed on the command output or the output here. So we use a file called results. We open the file and we search for HTTP, and shortly enough we can see check hey HTTP status code, the function, all the relevant information, such as the function address in memory. That's it. And lastly, leveraging the PE header, which we extensively talked about, guys, in the dissecting PE header room. Nevertheless, we're going to answer the questions here. So the file that we're going to analyze is sample4. So this is sample 3. We're going to close that. And open sample4. As a reminder, guys, analyzing portable executable headers is actually one of the highlighted steps in statically analyzing malware, to analyze the behavior of the malware, relying on analyzing its headers. And we used the PE3 in the previous video. Today we're going to use PE Studio, so malware 4, and we're going to give it some time until all the checks are done on the strings. Let's give you a rundown on this tool. So basically, as you can see, guys, we have multiple sections to look at. Among these are the functions that are imported from what? The libraries, which represent the DLS. These two sections are very important in uncovering the behavior of the file, as we mentioned. Here also we got the strings, right? And here indicators. This gives us a rundown of the possible indicators of compromise that the file might be using. And here we have virus filter, but there is an error, timeout. So we are interested in actually the functions and libraries. As you can see here, it gives you in the column blacklist if the actual library is among the libraries that is used by malwares. So it's blacklisted here. So this would give you an indication if the malware, if the binary is malware, or probably is malware, let me call it. So if you've got many number of blacklists here, as an example, this would raise suspicions. Functions is the same. You have, as you can see, you have blacklists. So this raises questions why the file, or why the binary is using these functions or is importing these functions. So as you can see here, what's the question? Which library is blacklisted? It is remote procedure call, and that's its behavior as asked here. Indicators, as you can see here, so in this indicator, the file references strings. So we have 52, as you can see here, got 52 blacklisted strings. Let's take a look. This one, suspend a thread, found in the strings. Global delete, also blacklisted. So this is very helpful, guys, in when analyzing the malware. If you have list of the blacklist, you can quickly give judgment about the behavior of the file. So after the strings, we have also around 47 blacklisted functions. The file references file extensions the file references file extensions like a ransomware wiper. We have 16 counts. So if you go to references here, let's see, where are they? Strings. Maybe we have to look at the option headers, sections. I'm looking to find these references the file talked about. We have 16 count, and here we have one. The file references blacklist libraries. We have one library that's blacklisted, which we already uncovered, as you can see here. It is the remote procedure call. So take a look first at the indicators, and then try to find or try to investigate these indicators, starting with the strings. For example, as you can see, we have 52 blacklisted strings. Here we have 47 blacklisted functions, 16 references, 1 library blacklist, and 3 blacklisted functions. According to, again, the levels of these, the risk level of them. The file references debug symbols. As you can see, ace money reminder. So by taking a look at all of these blacklisted references or blacklisted indicators, we can form a rough idea of whether the malware is the file is malware or not, without the need to open the file. Of course, for extensive analysis, we're going to need to perform both the static and dynamic. But for now, these are most of the techniques used in static analysis. Of course, this is not the first and not the last video on static malware analysis. We're going to resume later with more practice and with more knowledge. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.